Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 84th episode of Kouryer Podcast. Today, I'm joined with Mr. Santiago Latorre. He's a character artist and game art illustrator, but currently working as a graphic designer from Montevideo, Uruguay. Now, with that little introduction out of the way, could you please give us a little introduction on how you got into visual arts and design?
Hi. First of all, I'm happy to be here talking with you. I mean, I always love art and all things related to art. Um, Nowadays, I enjoy doing character design, concept art. I'm currently working on graphic design, as you say. Um, more specifically in packaging design nowadays. I mean, that's what I'm currently working on. That's my job.
All right. And were you originally studying art and design, or you were pursuing another career path?
I studied graphic design, but my true passion is illustration. So
All right.
I I am aspiring to become a full time artist.
All right, awesome. That sounds amazing. I wish you the best with that. And actually, for
Thank you.
anyone who's listening right now, as I said, our guest is from Uruguay, and he actually told me something interesting that I think I heard before, but like I'm now sure about that fact. But right now, where I'm recording this episode is I'm in Istanbul, Turkey, and the temperature is right now 33 degrees Celsius, which is pretty hot. And apparently, in the southern hemisphere of the world, the planet Earth, it's actually winter. It's the seasons are reversed. Actually, I think it's like a fifth grade science subject fact, but I didn't know. It was interesting. Apparently, right now is 4 degrees Celsius, which I'm kind of jealous of him for being in winter. All right, that's just an interesting fact. I thought I also let you guys know. All right, so the next question is, what is your main branch of design that you're focusing on right now? And tell us about your experience from the start of it until now. I mean, of course, you mentioned that you're working as like a packaging designer right now, like, graphic design and packaging design section. But tell us about your experience on the working on those, subjects.
I mean, like everything it has pros and cons. I mean, I find it working as a graphic designer as a freelance graphic designer. I find it quite difficult. I mean, sometimes dealing with clients who change ideas all the time, it could be very challenging. Now I work as a packaging designer. It's quite different. I mean, it could be a little repetitive, but it just I don't it pays the bills. It's my main income. Um, Packaging, all kinds of packaging. It could be a packaging for a bottle of wine or fast food or I don't know. It's like anything you could come up to. I mean, it's all size and forms. Yeah.
Yeah, and and is there anything else?
Anything else like what do you mean?
Like, is there any other interesting aspects to the job itself aside from the stuff you said, or
I mean, I recently work on a project for excuse me.
is that Frida? It's
Yes.
fine.
Yes. Yes. I recently worked with a rock band to make the whole CD packaging, including the booklet, the cover, and all that. That was quite interesting. I mean, and also challenging because I was dealing sometimes when you're dealing with just one client, it could be challenging. But in this time, I was had to talk with all five of them, and they all have different ideas of what they want. So it was quite um, complicated at times. But I think the result was quite good. I was quite happy with it, and also had fun.
All right, awesome. And how does your design process usually go anytime you want to start working on a new project?
Okay. Well, first of all, I start. I try to come with ideas, look up for some references, and like try to come up with some concept to present to the client, and then start working from that foundation, you know, and just start from there.
All right, and actually, I had a couple of questions about some of your artworks now. Which is we've come to the general art section of the podcast. As for the most concurrent listeners and audiences to the podcast could understand. All right, let's get down to it. First, I want to ask you about some of your works that you've done, like some of the character arts that kind of caught my eye. Like the first one, I want to ask you about the story of it, and everything is that mashup of Aztec Warrior, Mega Man Aztec Warrior mashup. Like, I think that actually looks really cool.
Thank you.
Um, could you tell us about the how the idea came, the process, and how they get the inspirations and everything? Basically, the whole thing.
Okay, yes. There is this group on Facebook. Maybe you heard about it. It's charity. No, charity. Challenge. It's a group of Facebook which has a different challenge every month with a theme. You know, and the theme was Aztec Warrior. Um, I tried to come up with with an idea for that challenge. I'm just love all things retro, you know, the retro video games, movies, anything. Also music. So I took the Mega Man character and combined it with the Aztec Warrior, and that was the result, you know. Um,
Awesome.
yes, yes. I
Yeah,
mean,
and yeah, go on. Were you gonna say anything? Sorry.
no, the retro themes is something that I always like to put on my characters and my illustrations. It's like something like that I really like, you know.
Yeah, and actually, I want another thing I want to ask is that I think like how was the process of like designing this whole thing? Like, did you first? Of course, I mean, obviously, everyone has to first start with the reference, but like there's so many elements from like the Aztec, art and culture that that's involved in this piece, and I want to ask you like where did you exactly get those inspirations and references from? Actually,
Do you mean the references?
yeah, yeah.
What
The
do
for example, the elements that were used in the drawing itself, the patterns, everything.
it always started with a Google search, you know, and of course Pinterest and Google is just such a powerful tools nowadays. Just like make a compilation of pictures and just start from there, you know, just um, like having two windows, one full with references, and the other you just start making some sketches and just I don't know in what moment just the shapes start to come together and just go from there, you know.
Yeah, and another thing I want to actually ask and also mention to the audience who are listening that on your profile it says commissions open now. First, before we get
Yes,
into it, I want to ask what kind of commissions are you doing right now? Is it graphic design commissions or comic book commissions? Because I already seen that you're actively working with clients from different indie comic book artists, or comic writers that are kind of like doing their own thing and need like an artist. You've done, I think, for Black Moss Comics and Elevated Comics, if I'm not mistaken.
yes.
But I mean, are your commissions for comics or illustrations or both?
I mean, like you say, I recently made some commission from some indie comic labels, and I try to adapt what the client needs. I mean, I have my own favorite, how do you say, styles, and but I try to adapt. And then the latest commissions was about I had to, it's like, more of a comic style, um, but it's, I how do you say, I don't know how to say it. Sorry, my English is very
Yeah, it's
rusty right
fine. It's
now.
fine.
It's very
No, no, at all.
limited.
But I actually really, yeah, it's fine. But I absolutely like. I'm being genuine. I truly appreciate, but you still that you came on the podcast and you had the courage to actually do because it's like I'm actually right now learning a new language, so I know how like it could kind of be frightening to just especially speaking. Like I'm sure that your English understanding is very good, but it's the speaking that usually for everyone who's like new to languages are.
Of course,
And a lot
yes,
of
yes.
people, yeah, and a lot of people who even want to come on the podcast say to me, like hey, my English is not that good, so sorry. And sometimes they come to the podcast and they do well, and you're actually doing well by now. I mean, by the way, just being honest with you, you're doing well.
Thank
um
you.
but yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thing. The point with every language is just to force yourself to speak it. That's how you're gonna get good. If you're always gonna be afraid and cocoon yourself and never speak, you'll never get good. It's simple as that. And today you're improving your English, so great job,
Absolutely, yes,
congratulations. Yeah.
yes, yes, yes. I mean,
uh
when you try to express something and you can find the words, it could be frustrating, but
yeah,
you know the feeling, right?
yeah,
It's
exactly.
uh, you know.
Yeah. All right. So, by the way, the point, then the reason I mentioned about your commissions is because I want to tell anyone who's listening and need like a comic book artist or an illustration or anything. By the way, you can see the works that are, of course, showing on the YouTube version of the podcast. Like here, I think, yeah, I'm in the downside of the video. Like here, top right, you can see his works, on the time lapse. So that's the style he's working. So if you're needed, someone to commission for art, his commissions are open. The links are in the captions as well. All right, so let's move on to the next question, which is who are your favorite artists and designers that have inspired you the most?
Wow, that's a tough one. Nowadays, the first name that comes to mind right now is a comic artist I admire, James Harren. James Harren. I don't know if you heard about it. Now it's has a new comic right now. It's called
Mhm.
Ultra Mega, and I think it's just awesome. He has this when an artist has this style which is so easily, how do you say, it's like you see the art and you immediately know who made it. Artists like
Yeah,
James
unique
Harren,
style.
yes, and Show Madureira, or I don't know, so many artists. When an artist achieves that style that is like his own, uh, so easy recognizable. It's like it's a great achievement, for in my opinion. you know.
Um, all right, sorry, folks. I think you guys already realized by now, whether you're listening on the audio or YouTube version, that there's been some sort of cutout in the editing of the video. Well, some internet disruptions happen, and yeah, this stuff happens regularly. And the thing that we were talking about was like our guest was answer to the question of their favorite artists and designers, and they were explaining of how when, for example, you see a work of art by someone, you can tell whose artwork it is just by the style of it, because some styles are so unique. And he was also explaining his favorite artists and designers, which I'm going to stop right now and let him continue. All right, all yours.
Uh, yes, yes, exactly. I mean, um, as I was saying, it's like a great achievement when you develop some kind of style that can be so easy. It's like when you see this piece of art, this illustration, and you immediately say, "Oh, this is a like I don't know." Uh, this artist, it's like you see it and you immediately know, you know like it's awesome.
Yeah. And well, the next question is, what technologies and softwares do you mostly use for your works?
Well, I mostly used nowadays I mostly use Clip Studio. I really like it. I think it's a great software. It has some amazing tools. Of course, Photoshop is it's also awesome. It's a powerful tool, but I don't know. I found Clip Studio. It's like it's adapt more to what I want to do. Like my style and the type of illustration I usually do. Yes.
All right. And what are you working on right now that you can tell us about? What kind of project is it? I mean, of course, if it's something that there's an NDA involved, we can skip right past this question. But if that's not the case, tell us what you're doing right now.
Right now, I'm working on this set of cards, with different characters from Black Mouse Comics. It's a set for 6 cards with different I mean the bad guys from this title, and also working on a cover for a book from this client from Spain, and they are having fun. I really like them. Both projects, and I think it's amazing. Um, how you connect with people all over the world. I mean, in Instagram, it's just something that blows my mind. Right now I'm talking with you, and then I'm talking with someone from Spain, from the US. It just it's amazing. I don't get used to it. It's like it always blows my mind. You know, it's fascinating to me.
Yeah, a
Yes.
lot of people. Yeah, a lot of people take internet for granted by what an amazing tool it is.
Yes, absolutely, absolutely.
And
I mean,
yeah, and all
I
right.
start with
So
yes.
no, sorry, I apologize. Go on. Sorry, I cut you
No,
there.
I was going to say that I started using Instagram like a year ago. I know it's like something new to me. I know it's been around for many years, but I started using Instagram very recently, and it's amazing. Yes.
And speaking of your Instagram, thank you so much for reminding me, because I forgot to ask you one thing. Your
Yes.
profile picture on Instagram, it seems to be a character. You're one of your original characters, if I'm not mistaken. Um, Tell us about the design of it, the story of it, and how it came by.
It's called Nuclear Boy. It's meant to be like this character is like a boy in a post-apocalyptic world living in a living in this shelter, you know, for it's something inspired by movies like Mad Max, and it's just post-apocalyptic themes is something like I really enjoy. It's something I'm really attracted to, you know.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I assume, speaking of, as those are the type of stuff you're attracted to. Do you also like Fallout franchise,
Yes,
the video
of course.
games?
Yes, I played almost all of them. I know. Yes.
Which one is your favorite from all the Fallout games?
I would say Fallout 3 is like it's the my favorite. Yes.
Hmm.
Yes.
You were so close. I was waiting for you to say New Vegas. You were so close.
The thing
Actually,
is
yeah,
the
go on.
the
Sorry, go on.
the thing is I mean it was such a difference between number 2 and 3. It's like what the just blew my mind, you know. It was amazing the first time
Yeah,
I experienced it. Yes.
yeah. And actually, Fallout New Vegas is my actual favorite game of all time, and I just love the Fallout franchise. I mean, it's kind of sad to see where the state of Fallout franchise is at now. Um,
Yes.
yeah, I mean, Fallout 4 was mediocre at best, and Fallout 76, I don't know, just why? They just wanted to cash in on the whole online multiplayer, scene to make it
Yes.
profitable. Yeah, I mean, it's sad that single player games are kind of getting dead. It's all battle royales and online games now. Like Fallout New Vegas has
Yes.
such a
I mean,
good
it's
story and writing. Oh, sorry, go on. If you wanted to say something.
no, no. I agree with you totally. Yes. It's
Yeah, and Fallout 3 was actually really good. Don't get me wrong. Like, but in general, for me, the writing, the vibe, and everything, the atmosphere, everything Fallout New Vegas was just perfect. But Fallout 3's, here's the thing: I really loved Fallout 3's DLCs, especially the Pit one and the Point Lookout one. Like the writing, the characters, it's just amazing. I mean, they're so underrated even at this point, and I think everyone should give it a try. It's such a good game, actual good gaming experience that you can
yes.
enjoy.
Yes. Totally. Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing.
All right. So let me ask you another question. What area beside the area you're working on right now would you be interested to explore and learn in the future? Like, what I mean by that, if you had enough, if you had, for example, this is a hypothetical question, if you had, for example, extra time, in your days or your life, and you could dedicate it to something, maybe it could be learning something or doing something, what would that be? It could be something even non-art related, by the way.
Yes. All right. I would like to learn more about 3D sculpting. It's something that I find it really awesome. When you know when I'm watching these YouTube videos where they start with a simple shape and turns into I don't know anything. ZBrush and Blender are amazing tools, so powerful. Even you can always combine it with 3D art with 2D art to come up with concepts. I mean, it's awesome, really awesome. Yes.
All right. And, well, with everything that's been said and done in this episode, to conclude all we discussed, please give us a roadmap for someone who is zero in visual arts and wants to get to the place you are in terms of skill set. Like, for someone who is here zero and wants to get to here where you are, like in terms of visual arts and, everything, what steps should they take, in your opinion, to get there?
Um, I think the best thing you can do is to try um, to the sometimes we get so distracted with other things, maybe with video games, or of course they are very fun, but you need to we need to sometimes you need to focus on what you really want and what you really want to develop, the skill you want to develop, and try to focus on that, and dedicate time to it, looking at your favorite artists, try to learn from them. Nowadays we have YouTube, we have online courses. Try to focus and give your best, and then don't try to don't be distracted by other things. That will be my advice.
All right, awesome. Well, there's one last thing I need to ask you. This is the last thing. This
Okay.
is a section I recently added to my podcast, which is called Final Words. And basically, the thing is, imagine right now, at this very moment, you're face to face with anyone who might be listening to this podcast or watching this podcast maybe tomorrow, maybe 2 weeks later, maybe 2 years or 20 years later, whom I know. If they come upon this video and this episode and they are listening at this point of time to you, if you could leave a message to them, and it could be anything, if you could leave a message from you, like one final message from you to be there, like as your legacy to anyone who might be listening, what would that be?
Wow, that's deep. I think what I would say is that you try to enjoy what you do. Try to make the best of it. Nowadays, with the social media and all that stuff, sometimes we lose track of what we want to do, we want to achieve, and got caught up in the likes and the follows and all that stuff. Just try to enjoy what you do, and make it your passion, and just go for it. Enjoy it. Make it. It needs to come from your heart. Something you have to believe in what you do. That would be my message. You know.
Awesome. Yeah. All right, so thank you so much for coming us for this episode on this podcast and episode
Nice to
84.
hear.
Where can people contact you if they had any questions? Is your Instagram okay if I put it in the captions?
Yes, of course, of course. I'm yes. Uh, you can contact me on Instagram or via mail. I'm always open to respond to any message or doubts or help in any way I can. You know.
All right, that's awesome. Thank you so much. Well, we've reached the end of this episode. Thank you so much for coming by, and thank you to anyone who tuned in and listened to this episode. I hope you enjoyed it. If you guys have any questions or recommendations or suggestions for the podcast, or just anything in general, leave them down in the comments. I read them all. And that's about it. Thank you, everyone. Take care. Have a good day. Bye.